them bones," they laughingly sang, and "Don't be cruel," and "Bye-bye love," combining their voices in harmonies and arrangements of Ruddick's invention. Light-eyed, olive-skinned Ruddick represented the third generation of a Negro Nova Scotia coal mining family. Both mother and father had colored blood in them, is how Ruddick put it. He was neither particularly liked nor disliked by his fellows as a result. It was, in a way, just one more peculiar thing about Ruddick, who was a bit of an odd duck. You could run into Ruddick off-shift strolling down Main Street in a pastel-colored shirt, unbuttoned to the chest, and a felt fedora tilted back on his head with a cigar and a cigar holder clenched in a grin or grimace as he greeted you. On this windy northern peninsula, in this utilitarian town, Ruddick offered a bright bit of elegance, a dash of the Hollywood look. In the coal car riding up out of the pit, Maurice Ruddick, with muscles burning from hard labor, moving stiffly in the crusty outerwear and helmet, turned around to see whom he had to work with before trying to assemble a bit of harmony. He whacked the side of the trolley with his lunch pail for percussion, as the other men howled along, their mouths moist red O's in the blackness. The company men who worked on the surface could hear the miners coming from a long way off, the thunder of their baritones echoing up through the caverns. When the miners ducked, squinting out of the aluminum sheds that covered the pit heads of the Cumberland Railway and Coal Company's No. 2 and No. 4 mines, coal dust coated their faces and the cracks in their necks and hands. From under the shade of soot-covered helmets glowed the whites of their eyes and the red of their gums. What the world wanted lay deeply hidden, had to be exhumed. When the men brought it up, they were the pride of the Canadian government. It was soft coal, the finest in Canada. Black it was, too. So black it looked like the miners had chipped and pried apart chunks of the subterranean darkness in which they grappled. Of such pure primeval blackness was this rock. It was of the earth's first order of blackness, and had become one of the names of the color black. Coal black. The stuff had last seen the light of day in the Paleozoic era, 300 million years ago, fanning its fingers in the sunlight as ferns. At the red brick lamp cabin, each miner returned his headlamp and battery for recharging when he was finished for the day and received in exchange, like a hat check token, a brass tag with his identification number. His battery was engraved with the same number. A plywood board full of hooks, like the board on which keys are hung in a parking garage, displayed the brass tags of the men currently on shift, wearing their headlamps. In a time of mishap or disaster, the board glittered with tags for too long, describing at a glance the numbers of men still underground. Even worse, the identity of a man killed in the pit could be confirmed by the identification number on his battery. In the wash-house, the miners shucked off their stiff coveralls like football players unbuckling their protective gear in a locker room, and suddenly seemed to have diminished in size by half. Odd little wormy creatures they looked then, with their sun-deprived, cold-speckled bodies and blackened, earthy heads and hands. Vigorous scrub-downs in the shower only dulled the charcoal black of the men's skin to blue, but their wives were tolerant. The women knew that nothing in this town, least of all their husbands, would ever truly be clean. Like sailors in their ships, the miners called the No. 2 mine She. She's taking on water in the sinking, they'd say of the mine's deepest level, or she's a bit warm this evening. Most of them loved the mine, the work, the fellowship. "Why, I'm just as comfortable in the mine," said old-timer Bill James, "as sitting in my chair at home." "I really do enjoy the mine," said Cecil Caldwell, who had worked it since 1930. "I haven't got a bone in my body that has not been broken." But unhappily, and with increasing frequency, in the late summer and fall of 1958, they heard themselves saying, "She's restless today." Springhill was a hilly, shady, comfortable town sitting atop a vault of coal, an underground palace of coal, it used to be said. "The mines consist of entire mountains of coal," enthused a letter writer in 1765, "and are sufficient